podcast brought to you by talkingballocks.co.uk. For 10 solid weeks now, we've not made any impact on your life whatsoever. I've got the usual group with me, being Matt Rogers, Johnny Poyes and James Merrigan, and we're going to have a run through the Week 11 fixtures for the Premiership, our quick-fire roundup. Then again, we've got our in-depth Championship review. There is a chance we might even talk about the Capital One Cup. We'll see about that. And then our discussion this week is who we feel best typifies one season wonder. Now, there are a couple of parameters. They have to have been in the Premier League and they have to fully fit the bill of one season wonder. And then, of course, we've got Johnny Poyes' story to finish us off. So, moving along. The Week 11 fixtures for our quickfire Premiership roundup. We're going to first of all go over to Mez for the Arsenal game.
Again, the score, just get that out of the way. Arsenal managed to win 3-0 against Swansea. A lot riding in this game for Arsenal. They've obviously lost in the week in the Carling Cup, and they've lost two very important
Capital
players.
One Cup, but moving us along.
Capital One Cup, sorry. But they've obviously lost Walcott and Oxlade-Chamberlain, but they managed to come back, play very well. Again, the key player was Mesut Ozil, created 5 chances in the game. But a special mention to Joel Campbell, did really well. He stepped in, which nobody really expected him to get the call up to do it. But he got himself a goal and he played really well.
Just a quick note on that one as well is Swansea have only won 1 of their last 7 games. Gary Monk in trouble?
I said it 2 weeks ago.
You did?
Potentially, if it carries on.
So as a group, do we seriously think Arsenal can win the title?
Yes, I reckon they might actually be favourites. I'm throwing it out there.
I think sorry, go on.
Will they? No, they'll mess it up in some way like they always do.
We can always hope.
I don't think they'll mess it up. I think Man City will just win more games than they will before the end of the season. Mez, do you think Arsenal can win the title? Actually, no, of course they can win it. Do you think Arsenal will win the title?
I genuinely think they can win it, yes.
But will they?
No, yes.
Okay,
definitively, yes or no, from an Arsenal point, will they win it?
Oh, go on then, yes.
It must be nice though, Mez, to be talked about in terms of winning the league rather than coming fourth.
Well, I don't know yet, Rogers. I mean, it's not March, so we haven't had time to throw away the season yet. So.
Yeah, let's have this discussion when we get to podcast number 30-odd, assuming we're not bored of this by then. Rogers, talk to us about West Brom Leicester.
Okay, West Brom Leicester. West Brom, 6 clean sheets in 10. Welcome Leicester, and they meet the dream team of Mahrez and Vardy. Between them, Leicester scored 23 goals. 18 of those have been scored by Mahrez and Vardy. That is some going. So the score of that game was 3-2, with those two getting the goals between them. And I'd just like to say, there was no doubting that Vardy would score when he was one-on-one.
Oh, absolutely.
No point.
Can I just add that in that particular game, that was the 8th game in a row that Vardy has scored. He's now only 2 away from equaling the record of 10 set by Ruud van Nistelrooy. So with his current form, he could potentially break that record.
He looks like he's playing well as scoring the goals. I mean, the Leicester games haven't really been on TV recently, but going from the highlights, and obviously they are highlights, he looks like he's confident. He's doing neat touches. He's passing, shooting, all the things you'd want him to do, and he's doing them well.
And the thing is, the next 2 games they're playing is against Watford and Newcastle, so you'd imagine him scoring them maybe as well.
Yep, maybe. And just to compare him to Bafétimbi Gomis in the Swansea game, he was one-on-one, completely messed it up. And you can just tell the confidence that Vardy has, having scored 8 in a row, compared to Gomis, who started with 4 goals in 4 and hasn't scored since.
And of course, Jamie Vardy is still doing his best to ruin my fantasy football team. We're going to move along. Poyser, Palace, Manchester United.
This is going to hurt me to say this, but we're used to hearing this one phrase at United: glory, glory, Man United. At the moment, it's boring, boring, Man United. It is such a boring environment. We haven't scored a goal in 5 hours.
Oh, jeez.
5 hours without a goal.
Sorry, Poyser.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you said boring. I've got some more words for you. Turgid, dull, humdrum, lifeless, mundane, stale, tedious and flat. That's what we are at the moment. 2 shots. We've had 2 shots on target in 2 games.
Rooney didn't touch the ball again in the opposition's penalty box.
It seems that our best attacking players, or what should be our best attacking players, are now better defenders. Young Rooney and Valencia are better defensively than they are going forward these days.
Yeah.
So is that about...
Martial coming back, weren't they, into our own penalty box? Like, you shouldn't be there. What are you doing there? Get upfield.
Well, obviously there was the game where you got completely humbled in midweek, which we're going to talk about. But I know that Martial was playing on the left wing. Wasn't he bought as a striker?
Apparently Van Gaal doesn't know his best position. I'd say it's wherever Rooney is.
And the thing is, I've left Rooney in my fantasy team because I keep holding faith he will become good. But he's
otherwise known as blind faith.
He's coming out of the team.
Van Gaal's team or your team?
My team, and he should be out of Van Gaal's team. And I think for his benefit, he needs to be dropped just so he can go on the bench and get hungry again for the game. The thing is, with Rooney, I hope you don't mind me just saying this quick. A lot
I don't mind, he might.
Yeah, but he's still quite young as a footballer, really, isn't he? He's 30 years old. He's still got probably quite a few years ahead of him in his career. But it's like one of them things, if you go and buy a Bentley that's 1 year old, but it's got 150,000 miles on the clock, it's not going to work as well as one that isn't. And Rooney has done a lot for his career. He started young. He's had a lot of pressure on him. He's done a lot of miles. He's done a lot of games. He's done a lot of competitions. Maybe he's just coming to the end of his career early.
You're right, yeah, because he must be exhausted. Because I mean, like Ryan Giggs, he was exhausted as well, wasn't he? Because he stopped around that age.
But you have got to compare Ryan Giggs' body type to Rooney's body type.
Well, again, and for a minute there, I was worried that Poyser was going to involve David Bentley. We're going to move along. Do a quick little piece on Watford beating West Ham 2-0. Slaven Bilic's West Ham were derailed, which I think all the neutrals would say is quite a shame, because I think they quite like seeing West Ham up there. But Igalo for Watford has now got 7 goals this season, and that was West Ham's first loss in 7 Premier League games. Things are going well under Bilic. I can't imagine that West Ham fans could be any happier, to be honest. If you assume this is a blip, you'd hope they go back to winning ways next week.
On Igalo, he is now Watford's highest ever Premier League scorer with 7 goals.
Wow.
How many seasons have they ever had in the Premier League? It's like 2, 3?
I reckon, yeah, it's 2 or 3.
Yeah. Still, 7 goals in the top flight is nothing to sniff at.
From a West Ham point of view, I will say one thing. A very good friend of mine, hi Mitz, if you're listening, I hope you are still. He is very excited with the season, but he is very worried it could come crashing down for West Ham if they don't keep going.
I think things could be worse if you look across London and see Chelsea. Mez, talk to us about Man City Norwich.
It was a good game. It was really good to see Paul Ruddy and... Is it Paul Ruddy?
Paul Rudd's an actor. You mean John Ruddy?
Paul Rudd from Friends?
No, John Ruddy.
There you go.
Yeah.
John Ruddy. It was really good to see John Ruddy and Joe Hart do their best Brad Guzan impression on the pitch. It was fantastic. To be honest, if the goalkeepers hadn't messed up the way that they did, it should have only been a draw. But crazy calamity keeping from both sides really made the game more entertaining than it should have been. But in all seriousness, City were all over them for the majority of the game.
Hey, you know things are bad when Russell Martin is the best goalkeeper on the pitch.
Yeah, very much so.
Also, they weren't the best Brad Guzan impressions of the week. There's another one of those coming up soon.
Well, yeah, very true.
Just a quick bit on Norwich. They've lost 4 in a row, and in those 4 games, they've conceded 10 goals. One step closer to Delia taking over. Poyser, Southampton, Bournemouth.
Yeah, I managed to watch a few of the highlights in this game. It seemed like the first half was all full of action and had a lot going on. Second half was a bit of Southampton sort of digging in almost and just going, we've got this, we've got the game. Wanyama, though, what was he on? 12 minutes to go, you're winning 2-0 and you get yourself sent off and get a suspension.
I'll tell you what he's on. He's on ruining my fantasy football team with Vardy.
But maybe when he's on holiday.
Idiot. It's just an idiot to do that. But the last thing to add on that match is that Southampton keep up their record. They've never lost at home to Bournemouth.
Good little piece of information. Newcastle Stoke finished 0-0. Newcastle unsurprisingly, still in the bottom three. It's not looking any better for them. And Stoke, for all of their Barcelona players, have only scored 9 goals so far this season. That is not good enough. And 0-0 perfectly sums up those two teams. Mez, we're coming to you. Everton Sunderland.
Yeah, wow, what a Super Sunday game this was. Sunderland they seem to have left their defenders at home.
They've conceded 25 goals so far this season.
I'm not quite sure where John O'Shea and Wes Brown were, but they certainly went on the field at Goodison. Everton looked really good. Kone got himself a hat-trick, had a really good game. You know, he was fantastic throughout the whole game. It was quite interesting because, you know, Everton went in 2-1 at half-time, and you thought, there could be a game here. Sunderland, they bring it back to 2-2 in the the 49th minute, and you think, wow, you know, we are really in for could be a nail-biter here. And then by the 63rd minute, it's 5-2 to Everton, and they've completely let it go, and then they let another one in. It's crazy defending from a team that is quite frankly in free fall.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
did a quick little bit of searching on this. It's only the 6th time ever in Sam Allardyce's career as a manager, 440 games, that he's conceded 6 goals. When you consider the teams he's managed, that's pretty good going, I reckon.
Yeah, and he probably still thinks he should be winning the league with Man City.
Exactly.
Before we move on to the final game, it's Spurs v Villa on Monday night. Can we see anything other than a Spurs win there?
No.
Oh, what about Aston Villa 10-0 win? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, Tottenham win.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, gotta be a Spurs win.
Rogers, finish us off with Chelsea-Liverpool.
Okay, so obviously that was a big game of the weekend.
Also,
Chelsea...
sorry to just jump in. Explain to everybody how exciting it was to watch that, because we all watched that together.
It was good. We even had old Rostifer there.
Yeah.
Who was complaining every time a footballer went down because he loves rugby.
More specifically, Willian holding his back.
Yeah, not a fan of Willian.
But the game, Chelsea 1, Liverpool 3. I am not a Liverpool fan. I do not like Liverpool, but I must admit, I loved watching that yesterday. that was brilliant. I mean, just to see Mourinho's face.
When the supposed sending off should have happened, that was probably the best bit of comedy I've seen for a manager for a long time.
To be fair, Lucas should have been sent off.
Yeah, I agree. He probably should have been, but...
See, I listened to a little bit for an ex-referee on that today, from what he was talking on the radio about it. And he said he reckons the reason he didn't was because he accepted the first yellow card and just pretended, yeah, sorry, ref, I made a mistake there, caught as a booking. And the referee probably gave him a second chance when that next foul happened because he so graciously taken it. He said that tends to happen quite a bit. I was like, but that's not the rules.
So he was let off the rules because he's a nice man.
Yeah.
One matter should never be booked.
Yeah.
When he said, whereas sometimes a player will be like, no, this isn't, and really kick off. The next time he does a foul, the referee thinking, yeah, get off. I don't want you on here anymore.
So your friend is effectively admitting that referees are biased?
No, this was a referee on the radio. It's an actual ex-referee.
Well, then maybe he's admitting that referees are biased. Anyway, that just plays into Jose's hands. Chelsea are 4 points above the drop zone.
Really? Yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, I still think they're going to get top 4. And I just want to kind of open this debate out. I think Chelsea will get top 4 because they've got Jose Mourinho. There's still a lot of points to play for. There's still a long way to go. And I think they'll do it.
I mean, this is the team. Chelsea are the team that won the title last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same thing happened when Moyes took over at Man United, but that was a huge change from having the most successful manager ever to the Moyes sire.
Don't forget though, as Liverpool fans pointed out,
I can't see them coming fourth. I think they've blown it.
Okay, who do you think is going to come fourth?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be their opponents from Saturday.
Fair enough. Mez?
I actually think it will be Tottenham this year. I think they've been slowly making progress, and I think this year will be the year that they can finally break in.
Poise up.
I really want to say Southampton, but I'm not going to say it on principle, to be honest.
You can't say that because you predicted them to get relegated.
I did. So I'm going to go with the 6-goal team of Everton. I think they've got a young, hungry team, and I think with Martinez there, he could get them going. And I think if Lukaku and Kone keep scoring the goals from Barkley creating, I think they've got a good shout of going up into that fourth place.
Fair enough. All good picks. Time will tell. We're going to move on from the Premier League. That's the Week 11 fixture sorted. Again, we've got the in-depth Championship review for you. But there was a little something I wanted to tack on to the end of it. So I'll do my in-depth review. And then maybe if there's time, I'll add the extra little bit. This week in the Championship, Middlesbrough beat Charlton 3-0 at home. Borough now up to 4th. And the goals coming from David Nugent, Albert Adoma, which in particular is really good because there was a lot of rumours about him being unhappy and wanting to go. And Daniel Ayala chopping in as well. Next game is Rotherham on Tuesday night, and Rotherham are bottom at the moment, so it might be classic football style where the bottom team beats a team that's pushing for it, but I've got faith in Karanka and I'm sure we'll beat them. That's the end of the in-depth Championship review, but I just wanted to add that it was the Capital One Cup this week, and there was a very, very big game, and it was at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Middlesbrough. Now, there's an article on the website about this, because to be honest, we have to pick and choose when our cup finals are, and I think Wednesday night was our cup final, and the fact that there are 2 Manchester United fans on this very podcast right now, I'm just so happy.
I have no comment.
We didn't want to win it anyway.
And there we go, there's the arrogance. Read the article, it will be explained. Okay, moving on. One Season Wonders. We were having a chat with Jamie Vardy doing as well as he is. Not that we're suggesting he's a one-season wonder, of course, perish the thought, but it's up to him to prove he isn't. Who we feel best typifies the term one-season wonder. We've each got our choice, and so we need to justify it to the rest of the group. So to kick us off, we are going to start with Poyser.
Cool. I've gone for Michael Bridges, a player we've all probably heard of. He has been a bit of a journeyman. 12 clubs he's played for so far. I say so far because he's still playing to this day, believe it or not, over in Australia. I've been doing a bit of research this week on players who've been playing abroad and couldn't believe that he was still playing. 326 games he played in his career, scoring 73 goals for a striker, a goal-to-game ratio of 0.22 goals. Not exactly a great sort of ratio to go for, but his best season, his one-season wonder season, was when he went to Leeds for $5 million from Sunderland. His first season, now remember I said he scored 73 goals in his whole career. First season at Leeds, he scored 19 of them. Got to the semi-final of the UEFA Cup with Leeds. But then after that, he had 4 seasons of injuries, made 10 appearances and scored 1 goal. 2000 and 2006, so in the 6-year period, he scored 4 goals. This guy is an absolute one-season wonder for Leeds. He was great for them. $5 million they paid for him, got 19 goals in 1 year. If he had stayed fit, if he had been as good as he was in that first season, Leeds may have not got relegated.
Well,
that's how big he could have been for them.
There you go. Lots of ifs, but that certainly sounds like a one-season wonder.
And the fact that you can tell how far he's fallen when he's now playing for a team called Lambton Jaffers in Australia.
I really hope you've got the pronunciation of that right.
I have indeed. I hope so.
Okay, Michael Bridges. Any more to add on him, or is that your pitch?
That's my pick. Anyone got anything they want to argue against with him, or anything they want to check out with it?
I think he sounds like a one-season wonder. I just think mine is better.
Okay.
Mez, over to you.
Okay, so for my one-season wonder, I have gone for a Spanish striker who played for Swansea City. You might remember him as Michu. Basically, he signed for Swansea for €2 million from Rayo in the Spanish League. And in his first full season in the Premiership for Swansea, he did incredibly well, getting 18 goals in 35 Premier League appearances. And from there, it went downhill. So the following season, he managed 17 appearances, but only managed 2 goals. And then last year, he was shipped out on loan to Serie A to Napoli, where he only played a total of 5 appearances for them, but he scored no goals. He currently sits on the Swansea City injury table, and there was talk in the summer that if he didn't find himself a new club in the summer, his contract would be terminated. And the current talk is that he will definitely be shipped out in January as long as his injury clears up. So from going from a debut season of 18 goals in 35 to only scoring 2 goals since, I would say he is the epitome of a one-season wonder.
Fair enough, you make some good points. Being a Middlesbrough fan, there's only really one person I can choose, and that is Michael Ricketts. In the 2001-2002 season for Bolton, he scored 13 Premier League goals, although maybe he should be only considered a half a season wonder, because the last goal of that 13 came on the 1st of December 2002, so he's one half of a season wonder, which further proves the point. He scored the winner away at Old Trafford and was even called up to the England squad for a friendly against the Netherlands, and he played 45 minutes, and I assume it was one of those games where it's a brand new 11 for the second half. After his last goal of those 13, he didn't score again until the first game of the following season, which was a full 9 months later. He scored 6 goals in that next season, and then Middlesbrough bought him for £3.5 million, and he made 33 appearances over 2 seasons and scored 3 goals. He's since kind of dropped down the league and ended his career at Tranmere. So in one season he scored 13 Premier League goals, and then in one half of a season he scored 13 Premier League goals and then just absolutely carked it. And also, bonus points for being a scumbag, because in 2011 he pled guilty to common assault after he punched and headbutted his ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
Rogers, who's your pick?
Okay, so you've all made good points. However, Michael Bridges, he was playing for a good Leeds team. That Leeds team, which is bizarre to think about now, was top of the league when the clock hit midnight on the Millennium Eve. They were the top team in the Premier League. So Bridges was playing for a good team. Michu, Swansea, had a decent season. Ricketts, admittedly, at Bolton, but they were an established club by then. Or getting established under Big Sam anyway. If he was even there then. So I'm going for someone who got promoted for his first season and his one-season wonder. This is Marcus Stewart back in 2000-2001.
Oh, wow.
So Ipswich, promoted, they were favourites to be relegated. However, they defied everybody to be consistently in the top 6 and even looked like they might come in the top 3, eventually finishing 5th and qualifying for the UEFA Cup, where the following season they even beat Inter Milan. And the main reason for this was Marcus Stewart. Because it said, and probably quite rightly so, that the hardest thing to do is to put the ball in the back of the net. And that lots of players have made the jump up from from the Championship or Division 2, whatever it was, into the Premier League and struggled. This wasn't an issue for old Marcus. 19 goals that season. The only player to top that was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank with 23. So those 19 goals helped fight Ipswich from relegation candidates to the UEFA Cup and the bright lights of Europe. However, the following season it all came crashing down. He only made 6 goals. Ipswich got relegated, and he then moved to Sunderland and got relegated again. in fact, in the season with Sunderland, he got as many red cards as he did goals.
That really was a fall from glory, wasn't it?
Again, another good option. Folks, let us know at the Talking Ballocks Facebook page or at Talking Ballocks on Twitter who you think is your one-season wonder, or if you agree with any of us. Time is almost getting away from us, so we're going to throw over to our usual end, which is Johnny Poyser's story. He's already talked to us about Lambton Jaffers, so let's see if he can top that.
So, the story this week, we've all seen about Mourinho over here getting a bit angry with how referees are going and how he reacts to them, and his press conferences and attacking the referees on the pitch verbally and through the press conferences and stuff like that. Well, over in Turkey, in the Turkish Super League, a club over there, you're going to have to correct me on the pronunciation here, Poppy.
I think every story, Poison, every story you do should have a foreign team that you have to pronounce.
See how many cultures you can offend.
Well, my mate Aidan that listens to this is Turkish, so he'll probably be ringing me on when after he's listened to this and tell me it's all wrong. So their manager.
Sorry, what was the team?
Got Trabzonspor.
Trabzonspor?
Yeah, that's it. Their manager, Shota Alvarez D, however you say it, I ain't got a clue, was fuming at a referee after he didn't give a penalty to his team in the dying minutes of the game. So he stood there, was attacking the referee on the pitch, shouting at him, getting really angry with him. The referee just snubbed him and walked past and said, "I'm not talking to you about it," like they do. "Go away." He went into the referee's changing room. Referee said, "Get out. I don't want you in here." He went, spoke to the press, told them how he felt about that. He then informed security, lock them in. "I want you to lock the referee and the linesman in that room and do not let them out." The security locked the door and everyone went home and left them in that room. So then the story went on to 12 hours later, where the chairman of the football club gets a call from the Prime Minister of Turkey asking them to release them because it is bad press for the Turkish league that the fact that they have locked away officials in the room.
Well, they left them in there.
Left them in there overnight and everything.
Was it like, you stay in there and think about what you've done?
Basically. Honestly, everyone just went home and they just left them locked in there. To the point, like I said, the chairman got a call from the Prime Minister of Turkey asking them to release them. The manager has now been arrested and will be charged with sporting misconduct and with criminal charges.
Yeah, kidnapping, I would have thought.
Yeah. What a way to go. And we thought Jose Mourinho looked after referees in a bad way. Wow. He's got some way to go to equal that.
What makes you think that's a good idea?
I have no idea what must have been going through his head at the time. Can you imagine that? Just lock them in there, leave them in there, throw away the key, and that's it, they're done.
I can't imagine saying that.
I don't know if I should say this, but once at school we locked a teacher in a room.
Well, I think before anything incriminating comes up, that's the perfect place to end the podcast. Thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to check out talkingballocks.co.uk, and of course we are Talking Ballocks on Facebook and at Talking Ballocks on Twitter. Have a good week, and we'll be back with you next time.